Hello and welcome to my latest walkthrough for 180 by Mastertronic. This was released by Mastertronic on their MAD label, that's Mastertronic Added Dimension, which means that they thought it was a bit better than their usual games that they released for $1.99, so they would charge you $2.99 for it. Other games that were released on that label were things like the Magic Knight series, except for the first one, Finders Keepers, which was probably the best $1.99 game Mastertronic ever released. The aim of this game is just standard darts. What you've got to do is score 501 faster than your opponent, taking turns, and you have to finish on a double. And it doesn't give you any hints to which double you actually finish on. And to control the game and score points, what you do is you kind of have a floating hand and it moves around the screen and it always keeps moving. So if you go in one direction, it keeps moving in that direction till you change the direction or it hits the edge of the screen. And what makes it slightly more difficult is that it moves in diagonals. As you can see here, the hand's moving around the screen and you release it. And how far back the hand is determines how far the dart goes as well. So there's yet another added dimension to it. And it actually makes the game quite difficult. It's not too difficult. You can get the hang of it, but you do need to put a bit of practice in to get good at the game. So to complete the game, you've got to complete 3 rounds or beat 3 opponents. The first opponent is normally pretty easy, then the next opponent kind of middling difficulty, then your final opponent is a guy called Jammy Jim, who basically nearly always gets a perfect score. He always gets a 9-dart finish. You have the advantage that you throw first, so you do have a little bit advantage over Jammy Jim. If you get a 9-dart finish, you will win, but it is really difficult to beat him. Occasionally he does miss the double at the end and you will get another go, but that isn't very often at all. The good thing about Jammy Jim though is you've only got to beat him once. The other opponent, it's best out of 3. With Jammy Jim, actually, if you beat him once, then you win. This is my first opponent, who is Del Boy Desmond, and there are a great roster of opponents that you can play. You don't always get the same 3, you always get Jammy Jim at the end, as I said, but there are some other really good opponents. There's Devious Dave, who nearly always tends to be my second opponent, and I think is the second opponent in this. Shoe Shot Sydney, Beer Belly Bill, Limp Wrist Larry, Jammy Jim himself, Mega Mick, and Tactical Ted. I don't actually think I've ever played Tactical Ted, but each one of them has a different face, and you see the faces when they're throwing the darts, and they're quite funny. Obviously, Beer Belly Bill's quite a chubby face, and Shoe Shot Sydney has quite a big nose. And I've just realised I haven't given my shout out on this episode, so I'm going to give my shout out to my dad. And the reason I'm going to give the shout out to my dad for this episode is my dad was always a really keen darts player. And when I was a kid, I remember he used to play in the darts team and he won quite a lot of trophies. He's got quite a lot of trophies at home. I don't know if they're still out anymore. My mum may have tidied them away somewhere, but he won quite a lot of trophies while he was a darts player and while he was playing competitively. So yeah, Dad, this one's for you, as it's a darts game. So as you can see, I'm into my next opponent, which is Devious Dave. For some reason I always seem to get Del Boy Desmond and Devious Dave. Let me know if anyone else finds that they always get the same ones or any different ones. So the scoring in darts, it's pretty obvious, but the main thing to do is go for trebles, and with it being 501, you've obviously got to get an odd number at some point. Now you've got to finish on a double, and the highest treble to go for is treble 20, which gives you 60 points, and the best possible finish you can get is a 9-dart finish, which is 3 60s, which is 180, and the game would have a bit of sampled speech where it shouts 180 if you actually get 180. And if you get that twice, you'll be left with 141 to finish. And remember, when you've got to finish on a double, I tend to go for treble 17 then. I think there's a way you can finish going for the bull, but if I'm getting 141, I'll go for treble 17, which is 51, which leaves you 90, treble 20, which is 60, leaving you 30, which is double 15. I think that's the usual way I try to play the game. Obviously, if I'm playing darts for real, I'm going for whatever I can possibly get, and we'll probably hit 1 and 5 and other very, very small numbers a number of times. So the real game, I'm nowhere near as good as I am in this game, which is one of the beauties of darts games. You can be a lot better at darts playing it on a computer than you can playing it in a pub. So a little bit more trivia about this game. It was released in 1986 and was released on the Spectrum, the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC, Atari 8-bit and MSX. So quite a few different computers. And it was really good. I mean, I think it's probably my favourite darts game on any system. The only other darts game I think that is any good is probably Darts on the DS that was in the, I think it was 40 game pack that you could get for the DS, which had lots of little kind of mini games on, and that had a darts game which is quite good because you use the, there we go, 180 again, and we get the sampled speech, which is pretty good. Actually, that's pretty good sampled speech for the ZX Spectrum. But back to the DS, yeah, you use the stylus and you kind of flick the bottom screen to shoot the darts at the target, which is much more realistic, but quite a bit harder actually. I like this. It's really, I mean, the graphics in this are absolutely spot on. That's a big hand that's moving around the board, and it's well animated, and there's no flicker in those graphics. It's pretty good. So certainly deserved to be a $2.99 game, not a $1.99 game. And another thing about this game is occasionally you get amusing animations. So here you'll see the dog who walks along the bar and wheezes on the bar, which I guess isn't the best thing for a dog to be doing in a pub, but I guess it happens sometimes in some places. There is another animation where the barmaid will pull a pint and slide it along the bar to the guy that's sitting there. Oh, there we go, and we've got that as well. As if by magic, the pint appeared. Looks very dark, that. He must be drinking Guinness, that guy. But anyway, here we go. We're playing our second opponent. It's 100, so I need 24, which is double 12. It's funny, I think professional darts players have their own favourite way to finish. There'll be certain ways that they'll want to finish the game. And we're on to Jammy Jim. And I'm pretty sure you'll see Jammy Jim get at least one 9-dart finish, because I don't know if I beat him first time. Fingers crossed that I do, but you never know. I love the way he's got his cap on backwards. Oh no, one slip up. That's just not good enough to beat Jammy Jim. But as I say, occasionally he misses, so it's always worth persisting. Like the optics at the back of the bar actually. The graphics on this game are really, really good. It's a little bit of colour clash, but much of it is avoided. Certainly there's a bit of colour clash on the bar. I think I was giving in here. I think I was just wanting to get through this round and try it again. Here's Jammy Jim again. Yeah, it's not really much colour clash. That's a good graphic for the bar. And his hand's animated. It's not like it just, the dart just flies out of his hand in any way. I couldn't even hit 51 there. I think at this point in this game I was thinking, yeah, let's get this one over with and get to the next one. A bit like when a tennis player's losing in a set and they just kind of seem to give up and lose all the matches and then turn it back on again in the next one. So here we go. This is the last chance. If Jammy Jim wins the next one, you don't get to play again. And you should hear a 180 now. Yeah, that one just snuck in. Of course, Jammy Jim's going to bang in 180 here. He never misses. He's too jammy. Actually, one thing is, I'm pretty sure the dart always sticks in the board at exactly the same position, no matter what your opponent scores. We can have a look at that. There you go, another 180, so 141 to finish. Actually, Jammy Jim's going to get 180 again here, isn't he? Here he goes, another treble 20. And both on 141. Here we go, treble 17. Treble 20. Double 15. Yay! And I win. Thank you for watching that. That was my walkthrough of 180. Apparently I should take up the game professionally. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, happy playing!